Okay, so starting with the Gemini Sun placement, we have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a card that has to do with our inner will. It is the card of, well, in a upright position, it is you're fighting on and you're continuously putting in the effort to defend yourself and to defend your stance. But when it's in reversed, it feels more like things are piling up on you and that you just can't seem to win. You're feeling that exhaustion, it's getting to you, and you're getting to a point where you're feeling like giving up. And when I say giving up, that doesn't always necessarily mean a bad thing. Sometimes you're fighting for things and fighting against things to no prevail. Maybe you're trying to convince people in your life to see your side of things, to see why you took the approach that you did with your life decisions, with your business decisions, with your love interest decisions, and they just are not seeing it. They're just not receptive. They're not understanding. They don't want to understand. And in that instance, giving up is the best thing to do. Because why keep on trying to convince people who don't want to see your side, who don't want to listen? And sometimes that's the absolute best thing that we can do because we're relinquishing ourselves of unnecessary drama and unnecessary stress that we just don't need. This card means that it's time to stop compromising about what you're feeling, compromising about the decisions that you've made for people who are not willing to compromise for you and come to you with a sense of understanding and empathy. That is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It means you're done. You are finished with the back and forth, the tug of war of trying to get these people to see where you're coming from. This Seven of Wands in reverse is, girl, you've done everything you can do. Or dude, you have put it all out there. They're not taking it. They're not picking up what you're putting down. And it's time for you to walk away from this situation. This isn't a fight worth fighting anymore. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I really like that because sometimes we need to know when to pick and choose our battles. And the Seven of Wands is sometimes it comes up in reverse because we might be choosing the wrong battle. And this card is like, hey, this isn't the one that you need to be fighting for. There's something else that you need to be defending, but it isn't this. So now we're moving on to the moon placement, and we have the Ten of Swords in reverse. So the Ten of Swords in the upright position is a card of sorrow, of despair. You see all the knives in her side and on her back. She is beat. She has been trampled over. She is on her last limb. But in the reverse, this is things are being prolonged. So it's like when you watch a movie and you have that one character who was shot and it takes them 5 minutes to die. But seriously though, it is that card that is like, dude, just give it up already. It's time to let it go. You may be prolonging the inevitable about something. Maybe you're going back and forth and having this because remember the swords has to do with the tongue, the mouth, the communication. So maybe you keep on having these back and forth conversations trying to prolong something, whether it be a relationship or something like that. You're holding on to something and it's time to let it go. It's time to realize that if you keep prolonging the inevitable, what you resist persists. So don't be afraid to, like with the previous card we just talked about, that it's time to know when to pick and choose our battles. And sometimes we may be defending things that don't need to be defended. We need to just let it go, let it slide, and move on to the next thing. So now we have the Three of Swords in reverse. The Three of Swords in the upright position has to do with despair, with heartbreak, with disappointment. But in the flip side, this has to do with forgiveness. So maybe you've come to a point where you've been in the Three of Swords position and you've been dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow and grief. And this card is indicating that you're coming out on the other side of it, that you're coming to a place of healing. You're coming to a place of the wound is starting to heal and close. Um, Also, if that's not what it is, it may possibly be that instead of you being stabbed in the back by someone else or being stabbed by another person or circumstance, you might be the one stabbing yourself, friend. This may be indicative that you're having this negative dialogue with yourself, this negative self talk where you're being your own biggest bully. And it's time for you to really look in the mirror and confront that, like, hey, why am I talking to myself like this? And why am I listening to it? Why am I internalizing this? Where is this voice really coming from? Is it really you? Or is it someone else who was speaking to you maybe when you were younger, when you were at a time of vulnerability, and you've internalized that voice and you just keep on playing it like a broken record? This may be time for you to realize that this is a voice that you need to get rid of. This is a dialogue that you need to change. Be kinder to yourself and be more empathetic to yourself. Be nicer to yourself because you don't really get much out of being your biggest bully. You don't get anything out of being your biggest bully. You should be your number one fan. You should be your biggest cheerleader. And when we are constantly talking to ourselves in a way that is constantly putting us down, of course you're going to feel terrible. Of course you're going to feel bad about yourself. You're going to feel bad. You're going to feel like you can't do this. You can't do whatever it is that you have your mind set on. You can't achieve that. You can't have that. You can't want that. Like, you have to change that dialogue and say, no, I can. I want that, and I'm going to allow myself to want it, and I'm going to tell myself that I can have it. Because you do yourself a big favor when you do that. You change the dialogue within yourself. You change the way you walk in the world. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that I am able to see you back for a couple other videos so that you can get your full sun, moon, and rising card spread for the month of September. If you don't know your sun, moon, and rising, it is really easy to find out. You can simply Google it. There are so many places that are providing it now. And you'll be surprised at how much more your horoscope reading will resonate with you when you factor in your big three. So I hope you subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I see you back really soon. Bye!